Hi guys, it's the Macintosh Guide and I'm back. I'm back after a month's hiatus, I would say. I have been tremendously busy with work and I've got several things going on in my personal life that I just needed some time off from YouTube. And in that meantime, guys, from the current count as of Saturday 11th of November, I see that we are officially on 811 YouTube subscribers. So road to 1000 is just around the corner, and I will have a special 1000 subscriber thank you video going out when we hit that milestone. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who has been subscribing and watching my videos. I know a lot of them are coming from the Windows Bootcamp video. I want to acknowledge that. Yes guys, I know that's the video you guys all watch. You're only coming into the channel to see that, and I completely understand. As long as it helped you guys, it seems like Microsoft are patching that, but you know, I really do appreciate you guys subscribing. It really helps me. This is not my full-time thing. It's never going to be a full-time thing for me, but I just love tech and I love making these videos. They're very simplistic. I understand I'm not one of those big YouTubers who's going to do a big editing showcase for you, but I'd rather just get straight to the point in my videos. So I just want to say a big thank you to all of you subscribing. So in this video, what are we going to be doing? We're going to be looking at antique hardware, guys, a very antique hardware. We're going to be looking at the very old MacBook Pro 16-inch 2021. No, no, guys, it's very old. M1 Pro MacBook Pro 16-inch machine, Apple Silicon. Now, the reason why we're going to be looking at this video, at this machine, guys, is I wanted to look at a buyer's perspective. Would you want to be shelling out your cash for an M2 Pro, M2 Max, or the new M3, M3 Pro, M3 Max? And also look into how Apple is doing a great job with these Apple Silicon chips. The advancements is ridiculous. You know, we've now seen 2 generations of Apple Silicon being released in 1 year, which is ridiculous. However, does it make sense for you to go out there and buy these new chip machines? Can you go online on eBay and maybe source an M1 Pro machine for quite a bit cheaper? So let's just have a video about talking through this 16-inch M1 Pro machine from 2021 and how does it stand up today. So guys, sit back, relax and enjoy this short video. So as I mentioned, this is an M1 Pro 16-inch 2021 MacBook Pro. It has 16 gigabytes of RAM, it has 512 gigabytes of SSD, it has 10 core CPU, a 16 core GPU, and guys, generally this machine would fit pretty much everybody. This machine can do your video editing, this machine can do your coding, this machine can do pretty much everything you need, it can do. And for most of the people out there, this is the machine that people should be buying or should have been buying back in 2021. Now, let's just have a quick look at the design. So as you can notice, the MacBook Pro had a shift in design. Apple went back to 2015 and decided, you know what, we're going to bring our ports back. And that's exactly what they did. They brought this beautiful design. It's really lovely, very sleek, I think. It's definitely better than the Intel looking machines. It brought back MagSafe. It also brought in 2 USB-C slots, a headphone jack, and then if we turn it around, you can also see an SD card slot, another USB-C port, and a HDMI, I believe it was a 2.0 port here. And if we just lift the lid of the machine, you see a very beautiful 16-inch display, 16.2-inch display, I believe it was, and you can see this lovely notch, which people made loads of jokes about, but now everybody loves it. And that's what Apple does. They release something which is a trend. They released a notch on their iPhones, and now look where we are. We now have a notch on our MacBook, and everybody stopped caring about it. Everyone stopped scrutinizing it. A lot of people made mock-ups of it, but look where we are now. We're in 2023 going into 24. All MacBook Pros have this, and it's really, people don't really care about it. So yeah, that's the overall design and look of the machine. Now, one of the big things this machine did bring is a massive trackpad, humongous. And do you know what? I've never done accidental clicks on this one, so I absolutely enjoy this. The keyboard is just Apple's finest work. Like, this keyboard, guys, is one of the best keyboards you can type on. You'll be able to get, there's a lot of key travel, there's a lot of comfort, it's sleek. You're not going to get that butterfly keyboard nonsense that you got on the later releases of the Intel MacBook Pros. You've got a huge button for your Touch ID right here, and overall, guys, just splendid experience to use this machine. Now, just bear in mind, this design change is still current in the M3, M3 Pro, and M3 Max machines that Apple have released for the MacBook Pro. So what did this machine ship with? Now, this machine shipped with macOS Monterey, and this machine is of course still supported for macOS Sonoma. It supported Ventura, and now it's on the Sonoma bandwagon. And overall, you know, that's great for security, but just a little heads up, guys. I have noticed that Sonoma is now starting to slow down a couple of the first generation Apple Silicon chips, and I'm just a bit worried that Apple might start killing off their silicon chips quicker and quicker. And just a heads up on that. You know, we're seeing Intel machines falling off like flying bricks right now, and I'm hoping Apple don't lessen the stance on their software upgrade availability for their Apple Silicon machines. Now, we will eventually stop seeing M1 chips stop seeing support for them in OS wise, but I'm hoping that that's still quite a long way away. You know, 2026, 27 is when I would hope that they will stop supporting OS updates for these chips. Now, this machine in Sonoma, as I mentioned, there's issues. I've had some teething issues, and I use on a daily basis an M1 Max machine for work. It's a 14-inch device, pretty much maxed out, and that machine has some stuttering issues. Even when I'm trying to use mail, I'm trying to type an email across, I'm using Apple's default mail app, and I see some stuttering issues. Microsoft Teams, again, third party, maybe it's the third parties, but again, seeing some stuttering issues here and there. Nothing that is making me sweat, or, you know, that maybe I need to ask the IT department to change the laptop. And guys, the worst thing is M2 Max, which came out earlier this year, guys. Earlier this year, I have an M2 Max MacBook Pro fully maxed out from Apple, having stuttering issues. I see a beach ball on Sonoma all the time, which is ridiculous. And you know, I've got Apple Care on it. I will be taking it to Apple to have a look at. But yeah, I feel like the M2 chips are actually quite bad compared to what the M1 chips were. So that's just the OS side and some of the teething issues I've had in terms of the latest operating system, which is macOS Sonoma. Just a little comparison as well I wanted to just quickly do. The specifications, now I can't get all proper configs from Apple, but I can show you over here. M2, M1 Pro, 10-core CPU with 8 performance cores and 2 efficiency cores, 16-core GPU, which is standard, and 16-core neural engine. The M2 Pro obviously brought that just a bit slightly higher, so it now give you a standard 12-core CPU with 8 performance cores and 4 efficiency cores from that. So they bump into 19-core GPU, which is a 3 bump going there, and a 16-core neural engine, which is still the same. And the M3 Pro, which came out literally just a couple of weeks ago, a 12-core CPU is now the baseline, with 6 performance cores and 6 efficiency cores, 18-core GPU, which is less than last year, which is quite ridiculous. And in my honest opinion, I'm paying the same amount of money. I should be getting similar GPU performance, which makes the M2 Pro still probably the better machine to maybe potentially buy. And then there's hardware accelerated ray tracing that's going on there, and a 16-core neural engine. And the key thing here is the M1 Pro and the M2 Pro both got 200 gigabytes of memory bandwidth, whereas the M3 Pro has 150 gigabytes memory bandwidth. Now, this is actually somewhat huge of a difference, but on a day-to-day level, you're probably not going to realise. But just to go down, you know, let's just talk about the media engine really quickly as well. It's hardware accelerated on M1 Pro with H.264, HEVC, ProRes and ProRes RAW, video decode engine, a video encode engine, and a ProRes encode and decode engine being applied in here. The M2 Pro, pretty much the same, no difference there. The M3 Pro, however, there's a slight addition of an AV1 decode in the chip's capability. So again, it's very minimal differences. And does it really make sense for you to buy an M1 Pro or an M3 Pro? Depending on your budget, really, you could probably pick up an M1 Pro, guys, for definitely cheaper. I know on eBay I've been seeing prices around 11 to 1300 quid, and I think it's definitely worth it. Now, the M1 Pro standard came with 16 gigs. This bear in mind, this is for the 16-inch model, and 14-inch models. 16 gigs was the standard memory. 32 gigs was an upgradable option, and if you wanted the 64 gigs, which I had in my machine, that's only M1 Max. Now, M2 Pro didn't really change too much. Again, similar configuration. 16 gig was the base model, 32 gigs was the upgrade option, 64 was only available to the M2 Max, and 96 was only available to the M2 Max with the 38 core GPU. Now, my M2 Max MacBook Pro has the 64 gig variant, but it has a 38 core GPU model, so it's literally high spec. The only difference is it has 2 terabytes of SSD instead of like the 8, which I don't really need, and of course it also has the higher GPU level being available. So that's on the M2 Max side. But let's just focus back onto the current machine, and if we want to buy a base model 16-inch M3 Pro machine now, 18 gigabytes is the base model, so you get 2 gigabytes more, which is great. 36 gigs is available to M3 Pro or M3 Max with a 14 core CPU. So this time you upgrade, you're getting 2 more CPU cores, and then you get 48 gigabytes of M3 Max with 16 core CPU, which is, again, these are only available to the M3 Max. 64 gigs only available to M3 Max, 96 is only available to M3 Max, and then also the 128 gigabytes is available to the M3 Max, which is ridiculous. And it doesn't make any sense. M3 Max with 16 core CPU, you can get 48 gigs. But 64 gigs is also to the 16 core, but 96 is only available with the 14 core? It doesn't make any sense. And then the storage options is pretty much the same as well, except now 8 terabytes is only available to the M3 Max, which is, again, why? Doesn't make sense. M3 Pro, clearly, still a better machine. Now, in terms of the display, it's pretty much the same. There's only 100 nits difference in brightness, so not much of a difference there. Still the same resolution for the 16-inch. And again, the weight of it, the cameras, the audio, it's all pretty much the same, except the M2 Pro and M2 Max machines and the M3 Pro and the Max machines now have HDMI support multi-channel audio output, which isn't available on the M1 Pro. But again, are you really going to use it? Probably not. So, 2023, M1 Pro 16-inch baseline model. Should you go out there and buy this model instead of the M2 Pro or the M3 Pro? And my honest suggestion to you guys is, if you want to get an M2 Pro machine, get it from Apple's refurbished store. You'll get a good price. You get the 1-year warranty from Apple as well, and you can still buy Apple Care on those machines, and they are absolutely pristine condition machines. Most of the times what happens is they're just customer returns. Most of the time, that's what they are. Now, the M1 Pro machine is more than sufficient for 99% of people out there. You will probably not need another machine for 5 years at least, and it will still handle the latest software updates and security updates from Apple. It still will be able to do everything you need it to do. And if you're a developer or a Photoshop user or a video editor, the M1 Pro is still a fantastic machine to use. And if you really want to be able to push it up, you could go there and buy an M1 Max machine for quite cheap on eBay nowadays as well. If you've got the budget, then I would suggest getting either the M2 Pro or the M2 Max from Apple's refurbished store. You could possibly also pick them up from the eBay store, from eBay as well, online for a cheaper price. If you want the latest and greatest product from Apple, then by means go out there and order the M3 Pro or the M3 Max. I will be ordering the M3 Pro model this time to just do a comparison with the M1 Pro machine, and just to give you a bit more, keep some benchmark results really for you guys. But I will not be keeping the M3 Pro machine. And also, I just wanted to refer to what Marcus Brownlee said. He ordered a really spec'd out 16-inch M3 Max machine, and he cancelled the order. He said he doesn't need it. His M1 Max is still one of the greatest machines he's ever bought, and he doesn't see the need of spending £7,300 or dollars to get the latest and greatest, because his machine does everything he needs it to do. It's still fast. It still does it's compatible with pretty much everything. Apple Silicon transition is, Apple showed these fantastic graphs, but in reality, does it make that much of a real world difference? Probably not. So guys, I would say if you could pick an M1 Pro or an M1 Max up for cheap from eBay, do it. You will not regret that decision. If you can pick up an M2 Pro or an M2 Max on Apple's refurbished store, you'll be getting some good prices, and you'll also be able to buy Apple Care for them. Or you can also alternatively look onto eBay and be able to buy it from there. And Amazon, guys, lovely deals all the time. Probably one of the best stores to also have a look at as well. And if you've got the money, if you need to buy a laptop and you've got the budget, then guys, of course, go out there and buy an M3 Pro and M3 Max. But that's it for today's video. I'm back, and we've got plenty more things coming up on the channel pretty soon. We've got Steam Decks coming out possibly. We've got PlayStation Portals possibly coming out. An update on my gaming, so all the new video games I've received. And I'll be also uploading, as I mentioned, some gaming videos, such as gameplay, what I think about some of these games, how do I feel like they're great to get, or do I not feel like they're great to get. And I also finally are going to be getting some time of this Christmas period to start using my Nintendo Switch, and I have picked up Red Dead Redemption, and we will definitely be looking at how it performs on the Nintendo Switch. So guys, thank you so much for watching. You guys are amazing. I love all of you, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.